Hey guys, it's Leandra. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a very special review of a book that I had been anticipating for such a long time, and that is The Tales of a New World, book number 3, Windrider by PC Cast. I have been waiting for this book for such a long time. Ever since the second book came out, I was super pumped for the third book. I couldn't wait for it to come out. I absolutely love PC Cast's writing style, and I absolutely love her world building. I feel like all of her books just have something so magical and special about them, and I just love how each and every one of her series is unique in a very special way, but it also carries forth this theme of female empowerment and equality and just this like kind of magic. And I especially felt this with this book and the whole series in general. For those of you who haven't heard of a Tales of the New World series by PC Cast, basically the first book is called Munchausen. I actually have a review up on my channel of Munchausen as well. Munchausen is about a girl named Marie who is part of the Clan Weaver, which is an Earth Walker clan. This clan has been at enmity with the Sun Tribe for a very long time. The Sun Tribe mistreats the Earth Walkers and basically enslaves the people. The Earth Walkers are kind of cursed with this specific kind of curse which makes the male Earth Walkers very aggressive and brings a bout of depression over female Earth Walkers. And basically, in order to cure or to temporarily cure the people of this disease, there is this chosen woman called the Moon Woman who is able to draw down the cleansing and healing power of the moon in order to heal everyone. Now Marie, her mother, is the Moon Woman of the Earth Clan, but there is something very unique about her. She is hidden away because she is actually half Earth Walker and half from the Sun Tribe. Her father was actually from the Sun Tribe. Because these two clans are kind of at war with each other, her mom needs to keep this a secret from the entire community. In this book, Marie discovers new powers, and the entire adventure starts off when Marie actually encounters a guy named Nick from the Sun Tribe, and she has to decide whether she is going to help him and put aside all differences, or whether she's going to stick with the bigotry and hatred that has been present between these two clans. The second book in this series is called Sunrider, and I actually have a review up on my channel of that as well. I really love this series. I think that, like I said previously, it just has something so magical about it. I love how PC Cast always uses this element of spirituality in her books in order to bring forth just this new layer of depth that just is really only present in her books. I don't really have this kind of feeling when I'm reading other people's books, but PC Cast's books are just so full of magic and spirituality that I actually really do connect with them on a very deep level. Windrider basically follows the events of Munchausen and Sun Warrior and introduces us to a new character called River. If you guys don't want to get spoiled, I would highly recommend that you guys go and check out books 1 and 2 before watching my review or reading this book, obviously. So I'm going to jump right into some spoilers. I would highly recommend for you guys to go read them, and then you can come back and watch my review. Windrider basically kicks off where Sun Warrior had left us, with Marie, Nick, and all of the leftover Earthwalkers and people from the Sun Tribe who have decided to join Marie and Nick in order to start off a new community where all their differences are put aside and they are trying to connect these two communities and make them into one. Deadeye, who previously had been a man who was seeking after power, has now actually been completely taken over by the god Death, and Death is basically trying to gain control over the entire world. He has gained control over the Sun Tribe. Not very many people have managed to escape. The people who have decided to join Nick and Marie's pack are now trying to reach the Windriders in order to join their community. In this book, we are also introduced to a new character called River, who is a member of the herd Magenti of the Windriders, and we basically follow her story, I think, about a year and a half before we kind of catch up with the events that are going on now with Nick and Marie and all the other people traveling to the Windriders. I absolutely loved River as a character. I'm not usually a huge fan of main characters being introduced in later books. I feel like sometimes introducing characters later on in the series kind of takes away from the book because you're so worried about who they are. You have to get to know them. You just want to jump right back into the series, and it just feels like a lot of effort. But I absolutely did not feel that way about River. River and her story was just super interesting, and I felt so drawn to it. River from the Herd Magenti is actually competing in this competition where they are trying to choose a new lead mare who is the leader and guider of all of the Windriders' herds. She is unsure about whether she is the right person for this role, and also she doesn't know whether she's even going to be chosen by a horse. Now, in the Windrider community, at the age of, I think, 16 years old, people go to the choosing ceremony where a horse does or does not choose that person, and if they are chosen, they are then called Windriders. From the events that take place, we find out that she does get chosen by a horse called Anjo, but there is this other horse who actually ran away during the choosing ceremony, and no one really knows why. Everyone's freaking out. A horse doesn't usually run away from the ceremony unless there's something really, really wrong with him or her. People think that this horse has gone completely crazy. River actually nicknames him Ghost, but at the end of the book, we learn that there was a special purpose to Ghost and why he didn't choose anyone at the ceremony, which to me was so crazily shocking. Like, I knew that there was something more to Ghost than we knew, but I honestly didn't think that it was gonna reach past the Windriders. I'm gonna put this book down, it's getting really heavy. We also learn that the Windriders, or the Windrider community, has this kind of special connection with crystal stones. There are certain people who are gifted with the ability to feel the stone's property and to awaken them, and these people are called crystal seers. I found that incredibly interesting. I absolutely love how PC sort of weaves together fiction and reality. Now, at the end of the story, we learn that the reason why Ghost couldn't choose something at the choosing ceremony or on the choosing day was actually because Ghost was meant to be Dove's horse. From the previous books, we know that Dove was actually previously a mistress to Deadeye, and that she had been a sort of pseudo-servant to Death when he was awakened, and she then goes on to join the pack with Nick and Marie, where she finds out that she actually does have a gift of hearing from the Mother Goddess, which previously she had been faking for Death, but which she actually does have. And I just found it to be incredibly touching how at the end she meets Ghost, who is then actually called Tulper or Tulpar, I don't know how to pronounce it, because Dove hears his voice in her head when he chooses her. And I just found it to be incredibly special how through writing Tulper, she was actually able to see, like physically see people because of her connection with her horse. I found that to be so touching, and I was just bursting with emotion as I was reading that, and like tears were streaming down my face. It was such a beautiful and harmonious moment of the book, and I just love how PC crafts these magical stories. Like, there is just no author that does it like her, in my opinion. It was really, really interesting to see Nick and Marie's journey to the plains of the Windriders. It was really awesome to see all of the events that took place. Obviously, they were faced with a lot of danger where certain dogs almost died or certain people almost died, and it was truly horrifying to read that and to not know what was going to happen. I think the story that kind of warmed my heart most was actually Danita and Andreas' story, and how Danita was healing from the sexual assault that she had experienced previously. If I am not mistaken, I think that PC actually is drawing from her own experiences, sadly. While I obviously, thankfully, thank God, don't have any experience with that, I do feel like there was just such a rawness and honesty and genuine sort of feeling when reading Danita's story, and how she was coping with it, and how she was healing from it, and how Andreas was actually able to help heal her from that, along with Bast. It was so touching, and it was just truly amazing to then see how Danita went from being super crushed, her soul was just completely fucked up basically, to then actually accepting Andreas's engagement and being able to slowly heal from that process and to learn, to love herself and to give herself the healing that she needed, but also to just be super honest with the man that she is now being courted by. And it was really nice to see that happen and to see that kind of connection between the two of them, how it was able to be romantic without being fully sexual, however still leaving that sort of hope for the future where Danita might be able to fully heal from what happened to her and be able to be completely intimate with him. Other parts that I just loved very much in this book were seeing just those small sort of scenes where, For example, the Sun Tribe would teach the Earthwalkers something that was sort of special to their clan. So one of the things was this shadow dance where everyone who was bonded to a canine was able to participate in this dance where the animals join in and dance together with their human bonded people. I found that to be incredibly cute. I obviously can't imagine how that really would look like in real life with the dogs sort of mimicking the human dance, but I feel like that was really cool and very special as well. A very, very big piece of information that we actually learn in this book is that the bonding of the canines of the humans has actually cured the humans who they are bonded to from the moon fever. Now, as we know from the previous two books, the moon fever makes women very, very depressed and makes the men very, very aggressive. The only way to be healed from that temporarily is for the moon woman to wash them with the moon power. But in this book, we learn that being bonded to a puppy actually permanently heals you from that sickness, and I thought that that was just so awesome. It obviously gave me so much hope for the future and for their pack. And another really, really big event that happens is that a shepherd dog actually mates with a terrier dog for the first time ever. In the Sun Tribe, basically the shepherds are held separate from the terriers and they're always bred sort of pure, if that makes sense. There's not really a particular reason for this, but it was sort of considered a taboo in the Sun Tribe for a terrier and a shepherd to mate together and to make puppies. However, in this book, the pack decides that it is time to put aside old traditions which don't really have a place in their new pack, and I feel like this mating process between the two dogs really fully represents how they are also becoming one clan. You know, the Earthwalkers and the Sun Tribe are becoming one, and which is just really awesome. Another part of this book which I found extremely fascinating was actually Relina's story and how she ends up being a storyteller to Death. PC Cast really, really writes villains well. I absolutely loved Neferet from the House of Night series, and I think that Death is just written so gruesomely creepy and just so chilling that it honestly makes me feel the evilness that Death has. Relina is basically one of the only Sun Tribe people who has decided to stay with the Sun Tribe and not travel with Mary and Nick's pack. However, she didn't decide to not go with the pack because she doesn't have the values that the pack has, or she's not aligning herself with evil. However, she wanted to stay so that she could help her people and keep them safe and healthy, because Death is obviously spreading this horrible disease which is forcing people to give themselves this cure which eventually sort of transforms them into half animal, half human hybrid thingies, which is super creepy on so many levels. Relina does all she can with all of her being to stay safe, to stay alive, to please Death, but to not lose her values and her morals. And it was so heartbreaking to see that happen. It was so heartbreaking to see how Relina had to grasp at straws and become very scheming, not in an evil way, just in a very, very cunning and smart way. And it was just so heartbreaking to imagine all the stuff that she was going through, all the stuff that she was seeing, Death killing people, slaughtering people, and how she was able to stay strong and stay sane. It was just so admirable. I can't even. There's actually a fourth book of the Tales of a New World series which is going to be released. There isn't a release date yet or a name, but I am definitely very excited for a fourth book. Now that River has become lead mare, she now has to deal with Clayton, who used to be her friend, but who has sort of decided to take power for himself, and he wants to subvert the Windrider herds and basically take the power for himself, and he is very power hungry and she now has to deal with him. The pack has actually reached the plains of the Windriders. Dove has her horse, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. I definitely hope that the pack is going to integrate very, very well with the Windriders. It would be so awesome if at the end of the series, Marie and River would actually lead together, because River is obviously an amazing leader. She has totally earned her spot as lead mare, and I definitely hope that won't change in the coming book. Death is actually also on his way, along with all of his minions and Relina as well, and I definitely hope that Relina will find the pack, will be able to be reunited with them and find peace and a good and a happy life again. However, knowing PC Cast, I also have a feeling that probably at least one main character or significant character is going to be killed off, and I just pray that it's not going to be, I don't know, actually any of them, but I have a very, very bad feeling that Relina probably isn't going to make it alive out of the books. But I am absolutely pumped for the 4th book. I am going to, maybe, if I know when a release date is coming out, I might be making a predictions video where I try and predict certain things that I think might happen. If you guys are interested in me making a predictions video for the 4th book, leave a comment down below. I would appreciate you guys' opinion. And I think that was it for my review. Please also leave a comment down below if you guys have read this book and what you guys thought of this book. Wind Rider has definitely become my favorite book of the whole series. It is the book that touched me most here, and I think that River has actually become one of my favorite characters, along with Dove and Danita. I just love all of them so much. I think that it was just super magical. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I bring videos out every Wednesday. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!